Hello and welcome back to the Odd Prophet YouTube channel. Did you miss me? Well, I'm back now. So I want to talk about this guy, Modal Nodes. He's been getting, or they, I don't know who they are, they have been getting a lot of attention across the EDM scene just by being this undiscovered Riddim artist. I know that Sudden Death has talked about them. Pretty much every other person on Twitter has just been talking about them. And we're going to talk about why they managed to garner the attention from all these artists. Now, a lot of people saying that it's not just some random person. It's like some guy who's been producing. I keep saying guy. I know there are other people that aren't men who make dubstep. I need to get that out of my head. They. We don't know who they are. So it's a they. They have been getting so much attention. And it's not like they're doing anything too crazy new. It's still Riddim, but it's just done different. It hits different. So we're going to ask why. The two biggest songs that I've heard from them have been Clones and Defeat. So we're going to listen to them right now. Obviously, there's a lot of Star Wars theme around it. There also seems to be a lot of Star Wars themed Riddim. I don't know why it's about Star Wars. Why not Harry Potter? Imagine a Harry Potter Riddim artist, man. I bet there is one. Someone in the comments show me a Riddim song that has Harry Potter in it.
I've taken down so many clones over the years. Once you figure out one, the rest are easy.
Like Muerte said over here, the opening bass is absolutely mental. This is why, like, people are neglecting the fact that in dubstep, people need to have sound design that's maybe new and maybe fresh, but also just done differently. People are crying out for sound design that literally just nobody else can really touch. And I mean, there's something about this Modal Nodes guy, then the person, that just hits differently. It's got a bit of an ominous feel, but I also think it's just the fact that it's consistent. Like this one, Defeat, ridiculous.
Long before you, and will be long after.
So there's obviously a lot of square 4 influence, but there's a lot of filtering going on. Like that second sim, that's definitely some kind of band pass. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not them. I don't know. But I've only gone and tried to recreate it. Now, I only did this in an hour. So it's got the same kind of idea, the same sort of flow, the same sort of mix down, but I haven't been able to get it exactly right. So this is what it sounds like over here. And this is my version. Look, I'm not a square 4 producer by any means, and I don't have Reason or Maelstrom or anything like that, so I've done everything inside Phase Plant and Serum. This is the thing, right? This is as close as I'm gonna get, unless I spent years trying to get very close. I think recreations are something really hard to do if you get it one-to-one, but it's just not possible. So we're gonna go through why this sounds like it, how it is, see if you guys think it's a good recreation. So let's have a look at some of these synths. Let's talk about the main synth right here. This is obviously just a square 4 thing. What I noticed in the original one is that the frequencies are phased. They have some kind of phaser on it. So you can see right here that it's kind of doing this sort of filtering effect. Obviously, there's a comb filter going on. I probably should have done something like that. But it's kind of doing this. And there are a couple of ways that you can achieve that sound through using the convolver in kilohertz. Kilohertz, sponsor me, please. So let's have a look at this. So what I've done here is I've done a square full wavetable. That will be linked below. In fact, all these presets will be linked below for you to buy. And maybe you can also get the project file. I'm not really decided on that yet. But let's have a look at this. So this sound right here is basically just a square full wavetable that's basically phasing in with each other with the square waves. And that's the main sort of sound coming on here. We'll get to more of these things over here. And then we've got a filter to get the differentiation from the highs and lows to kind of give that sweeping wub effect. I've got disperser on here for some fun. Now, the thing about phase plan is that we don't actually have very good combs and flanger filters. That's something that they need to kind of sort out. Not the same ones that Serum does anyway. I have used Nasco's flanger, which is a snap heat plugin. And it's just a resonator, which basically mimics the same thing as a comb filter. Well, that's the flanger. Same thing as a flanger. And then I also have one doing the phaser. These are all being modulated with this master LFO right here, doing this quarter note Riddim sort of sound. Now we're starting to get to the multi-pass of it. This is where the majority of that sound is coming from. So this is a phaser convolver, and what it will do is it will delay the top frequencies from the bottom, kind of giving this whoosh sort of effect. If I do this and make it, you know, 400%, you'll be able to hear it a lot more play. You can see that it starts up here and kind of sweeps down. Honestly, these convolver effects are included in the convolver of Kilohertz, and I just use them all the time. They're absolutely amazing for giving texture, movement to the sound. I probably actually need to go and make some more of these for my lovely subscribers. Subscribe, please, so you can have these phaser things. I want to make some more. Then we have some distortion. Then we have some frequency shifting. Now, this can really help change the sound, especially if you put it on the mid frequencies like this. Yeah. So if I wanted to make some variations really quickly from this synth, that's how I do it. Frequency shifting the mids up and down can create lots of different tones for you. Then I have some more distortion. What I like to do with my distortion is incrementally keep adding distortion as I'm making the sound, because it needs to be loud, but having incremental distortion things might provide a much cleaner sort of sound and give you a lot more control, instead of just having one distortion just smack bang in the pre-effects or on the mids or anything like that. Space it out. The great thing about multipass is you can have as many of these as you want. On your computer breaks, you may as well spread them out. I have some convolver to kind of give it some reverb behind it, like this. Would be better if I put that frequency shifter all the way back. I do have a delay on here, but it's not really doing anything. So the thing about the original tune is that there's actually loads and loads of delays and lots of panning around the tune. And that's how you get that big mix down. And I think that's something that a lot of you neglect to do. You've got to have some stereo ear candy as well. If I put this up, maybe it will sound like this. Especially if I do it. Delays are beautiful, man. You need to start using them. It really helps fatten up the sound. Then I have an OTT, that's the multipass one, and then some shaper to make it really, really fat. Am I doing anything over here? Yeah, I'm doing some EQing, just taking away the lows, then limiting, which kind of maybe bring it back, and then doing this. But that's the main sort of synth. So if I take away that, I've got a sub bass with a lot of detail, a lot of distortion, and this is by doing something called non-intrusive layering. What we're trying to do with our layering of our sound is we're not trying to have another massive synth on top of the main synth. We're trying to have little details that complement that main synth. So have a listen to this. This is a really, really simple sawtooth wave. Sawtooth wave, it's got a filter to kind of match the same sort of vibe. And then I'm actually doing something very similar to the other one, where I've got the same convolver, the same distortion, but I've gotten rid of the phaser because I didn't want that. But it's very similar to the other ones. And then I'm doing some EQing. This is not doing anything. Get rid of that. And then that's got a little bit of EQ on the top of there. This is to make it fit a little bit better with the main synth, because this is more of a lower targeting synth to kind of give that farty sound that comes with it. Cool, we've gotten rid of those. So in the background of the original, there's a lot of this choir sort of dissonant things in the background. There's a lot of reverby sort of atmosphere that kind of makes it sound really, really big. But I mean, doing something like this, getting an impact and removing all of the lows can be really, really good. And then also got a lot of these glass crashing sort of samples like this. Yeah, and this is adding a little bit more high-end detail to the entire sound. And then for the sub, it's just a serum that I've taken a BD analog sine, just any sine wave will do, and then in here I've actually added some upper harmonics. You don't need to go crazy with this, but what this can do is can really beef up your sub. Beautiful. And then that's got some more distortion over here. I think that EQ is not doing anything. Some distortion with a little bit of bias. What this bias will do is we'll add a DC offset, which is a really ultra low frequency. And then when it's put through the distortion, it can help bring out some certain harmonics that make it sound big and fat. Beautiful. Let's have a look at this main opening synth. Now, the original synth is just ridiculous. I'm sorry. You want me to recreate that? That's hard. I'm sorry. But what we can do is kind of understand how this synth was made by looking at the waveform. Not the waveform, the frequency spectrum. So you can see that there's a lot of these frequencies over here, and then it flicks up. And then we also have a big distorted sub. The way that it sounds so fat and juicy is probably because they're putting the sub bass with the original sound. There's a big debate in EDM, or dubstep even. Do I do a separate sub? The answer is sometimes, and maybe not some other times. The reason why is you can get better results if you include the sub bass inside the synth. You might make it sound more crunchy. And then some other synths, the low end is just so fucked, but you like everything else about it. Then that's when you remove and give yourself a separate sub. It's basically,
I like the synth. Is the sub bass clean? If it's not, you get rid of it. If it is, you don't need to do anything.
So for this one, I think it's another square 4 thing, really. No, that's not it. Yeah, so this is basically a square 4 wave. In fact, very similar to the original synth. What I like to do with my synths is, instead of starting from scratch, you make one synth that you love and you think is absolutely amazing, and then you clone it and see if you can make different changes through it. So this was a bit longer for starters. But what's happening here is this filter has their resonance all the way peaked up. And that can really help elevate the sound into a higher frequency range. For example, if I move this up. Bandpass filters with the resonance up can really help, especially if it's going through all of this juicy goodness that we have on the previous one. Love it, love it. In this song, there's like this really sort of sucked in sort of bass that happens just before the main groove kicks in. I think that is a reverse kick, and there's a little sort of reverse sample over here that kind of creates this sort of, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like, it just feels like you're being sucked in, especially when the sub bass comes up an octave. That shit's gonna hit really hard in the club. It's gonna boom, because the higher up that sub bass is, that shit can really be impactful in the chest. And then when it drops down to that low fucking sub, big impact. That's how you create a massive impact for this drop. So what I did was I took a Must Die kick. I didn't even do a reverse thing. I should probably do that. I'm going to just do this. So I'm going to make this unique, reverse it. This probably won't sound one-to-one, to be honest. And do something like this. It's okay, it'll do. So again, with that filter doing the resonance up, this is also another cloned bass from the original one. I've changed the wavetable a little bit to get it a little bit more squarey. You're probably wondering what this analog thing that's happening over here. It is doing a little bit of FM synthesis, but it's not actually applying too much of a change. And it's not really applying too much of a change on these ones either. Well, maybe actually, let's have a look. It is just providing a little bit of high-end detail, but I didn't really cover it because it's not fucking doing anything. Because I don't have Maelstrom, I couldn't get that sort of vocally... Do you hear that little yoy in the background? I couldn't be asked to make that, so I just tried to make one my own. So this one, I think it's a serum, yes. So this is just a square wave with some detuning. And then this comb filter is doing that sort of, well, basically square fourth sort of thing. But it's this resonance right here going into the down sample. That makes all the difference. And then I have some synth dirt. This is adding that extra crunch into the background. It's doing like this LFO sort of thing. Again, non-intrusive layering. I have a down sample doing some white noise. Couldn't really fucking hear it, to be honest. Why does this song slap? Well, first of all, it's got a fantastic corner response. Quarter note, so it's easily danceable. But the thing that's just made this track stand out for me is the execution. The execution on this. In fact, it's actually not even slam. If you have a look at some dubstep tracks, and especially in the waveforms, that shit is usually fucking slammed against the zero line, like soft clip. These guys, or these people, or them, or just single person, this person definitely literally has decided, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep a lot of the dynamics still there. I mean, some people would still say this is pretty slammed because you still have like all this like thing over here, but the sub bass is not being slammed against that zero line. And I think this could be a mark of not slamming your tune so much. I mean, this one, I am just slamming the fuck out of it. I'm going to bounce it out and see if the waveform is pretty similar to this or not. Yeah, I mean, mine's a little bit more slammed, I guess, but there is still a little bit of that dynamics, especially here and here. So it's not fully slammed, but whoever did this literally didn't want to slam the fucking tune. And I respect that. I think it will sound good. I mean, if it's not loud enough, just fucking turn it up, innit? But yeah, this is a solid tune and solid producer, to be honest. It's deserved all the hype it's ever had over the last few days. It's really refreshing to hear Riddim done in a way that you've never expected. I mean, listen to this. Yeah, it's just absolutely phenomenal sort of stuff. Go support Modal Nodes because, wow, it's absolutely ridiculous. If you want any of these patches included in today's video, you can get them on towerandtempest.com. It's the sample pack store that I run. Serum sound design pack store that I run. I will, every time I drop a video, I will be giving out some stuff for free. There's going to be some stuff that's paid. I need a pint. I need to go to the pub to drink beer. I'm British, so every time you buy one of these packs, I get a pint. That's how it works. Feed my alcohol addiction. Right, go and support Modal Nodes. Keep producing, keep practicing. I'll see you guys in the next one. Ciao, ciao.